This show is brought to you by DF Studios Limited. Whether you're a business owner or entrepreneur, DF Studios will guide and assist you on the best ways to promote your brand digitally, in addition to creating visitor and customer generating content like blogs, social media posts, videos, and even podcasts like this one you're listening to right now. Visit dfstudiosltd.com or hit up info@dfstudiosltd.com for more info. All right, so let's talk about some movies now. Actually, we're gonna talk about some best of the year potentials. That's what we'll call them right now, right?
Yeah.
So, as I said in the beginning of this episode here, you know what I mean, as you know, as it's December, I just go on Google or whatever it is, and I just look up, best of lists. I just want to see what films, certain critics picked, and which ones I missed, right? Because unfortunately, because of where we're from, it's not like we're gonna see, this non-English language film or that film or whatnot. Usually we have to wait till they come out, on streaming or digitally or whatnot, right? Or if we really, really lucky, we might get it theatrically, right? So yeah. But in the case of this film that I'm going to talk about here, Aftersun, right? This was one that I'll let you know one time Ricardo has been showing up on nearly every best of list that I looked up, right? Some people had this as their number 100. So like when you see like 4 or 5 people have this at number one, you know me, Kirstie kills the cat. I had to see this for myself, right? Unfortunately, because I could not, go to the theater to see the menu, which we'll close things off with, I figured, what the hell, I'm gonna just watch this show, right? So I went in as blind as I can. What I just knew is that it was at the Cannes Film Festival this year. It won the French Touch Prize of the jury. I don't know what that means, but I guess it's a big deal. But it won something. But yeah, since then, people have just been praising this show to high heaven. But
All right.
some
Nice.
people literally call it the best movie of the year, right?
Okay.
I'll get this out of the way. It's not my pick for best movie of the year, but it could be top five for me, boy. It could
Okay.
certainly be top five for me. So what it's about, right? I'll try to be as vague with it as possible because I went in blind with this too, right? So this show centers on a father and daughter, right? Callum Peterson, who's played by Paul Mescal, and Sophie Patterson, who is played by, I believe, first timer Frankie Corio, right? So we just introduced to this father daughter, right? Well, they're in England, right? They're British, sorry, right? Um, and they basically are at this hotel in Turkey, right? So Callum is having this summer vacation, so we just seeing like about a week basically with just these two, right? But at the same time, we're getting two other scenarios, right? We're also getting this sort of like coming of age, this sort of a loose coming of age story involving Sophie. So, she's around and she's seeing things and experiencing things. She meets a boy, has a first kiss, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. You know what I mean? She's like 11 and, she's just kind of experiencing things and, she's in a brand new country and whatnot, right? So it's that kind of thing, right? But it also focuses on Callum, right? And his relationship with his daughter, right? Because what is set up early on is that, well, if you see Paul in the film, right? If you see him in real life and, look at him alongside Frankie, he looks pretty young, Jay. Like, he looks like he is literally in his 30s, right? And she's like 11. And they actually make the joke early on that their brother and sister is like, no, 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 we're father and daughter, right? But that's just to show how young he is because, yeah, he had her pretty young. He had Sophie
Right.
pretty young, right? Um, so while all this is going on now, he's like trying to, just have some bonding time with her, right? Because they set up early on that, well, he is divorced, right, or separated from, Sophie's mother, right? So yeah, he's just trying to make, the most out of the little time that he has with her, right? Even if it's just for, a week or thereabout, right? But what the show also explores is that he is going through some sort of mental illness. We're not sure what it is or what sparked it or whatnot, but yeah, he is not himself. Um, he's constantly, doing like meditative techniques. He actually does like a little tai chi when he has a little spare time and whatnot. But usually when he's alone, he's burdened, right? Or like when they will usually cut back to him, like his responses to things are kind of slow, or you could tell like like he's just, like his head his mind is elsewhere, right? And it's just that we as viewer now just trying to figure out what's going on, right? But here's the thing, right? So how this show is set up is that ever so often they will cut to these mini DV recorded, like just these video footage basically, right? Okay, yeah, this show is set, I believe, is in the 2000s. If I'm not, either in the 2000s or the 90s. I think it's in the 2000s it's set, right?
Right.
So yeah, we're rocking, mini DV cameras and all that kind of stuff, right? I had access to one at a point in time. They work, right? But yeah, basically this is what they use to document, the event, right? The trip. What the show also sets up well is that we also see an older Sophie, right, later on in the film, right? And she is looking through this footage as well.
Right.
And what and just to close things off, because well, the reason why she's doing this is because yeah, it's pretty much established at that point in time, slight spoiler, is that her father passed away.
Right.
But we're not really sure what is the cause, right? We're not sure why, right? But she is trying to figure out what happened or what led to it, right? And I'll jump into the review here one time, right? So going into this film blind, boy, like I like for me, I was just watching the show, just kind of seeing things play out. This is actually the debut feature from Charlotte Wells. She's a Scottish filmmaker. Um, and everybody has been saying, off the strength of the show, this is a name that you should definitely be seeking out, right? And honestly, I do want to see her future work, yeah, because yeah, she has a bright future as far as filmmaking goes. And she also wrote the film as well, right? And I could tell it's kind of semi autobiographical as well, too, right?
Right.
Like I could tell just the way how the show plays out, it feels very much like she's drawing from memory, right? Because yeah, the show has this sort of, I would say unconventional, but it just really feels like a series of moments. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you just kind of experiencing things through their eyes. It doesn't really have like a real narrative per se. Like there's no real, like, some sort of conflict or big tension. Or actually the big tension really is what's going on with the dad. But other than that, you're just kind of seeing, just these experiences, right? That's it, right? So I'm just watching this film, just watch it play out and whatnot, right? And then when it ends, I was like, all right, that's it. Okay, all right. But then I just sat down, Dread, and I just started to think about it and started recall moments and just started piece together what I saw, boy. And the more I thought about it, the more it clicked, and the more it worked for me. And yeah, the more I could really relate to this, boy. I would tell you, if you've ever lost someone, like if you ever lost a relative, Dread,
Yeah.
um, there's usually that moment where you try where you mentally you go back to the last few moments that you spend with them or even before then, and you just try to figure out, okay, was there a particular moment where this relative or friend wasn't okay? Was there a moment where he or
Right.
she or they was crying out for help and I just didn't pick up on it? Was there
Right.
a moment where they felt distant or cold to me? And you're just trying to remember there, and you try to figure out, okay, maybe this was the warning and I just didn't pick up on it, right?
Right.
And what makes this show even more heartbreaking, Dread, is, well, the age of Sophie, Dread. She's 11, Dread. So she don't know what's going on. She does
Exactly.
not
Right.
know,
She
right?
can't really piece together. Yeah.
Exactly. And
At
now
that
you have
age.
the
Right.
adult Sophie trying to figure out, wait now, like what was going on, right? And this is yeah, the beauty of this film here, right? Okay, yeah, what the show does so well, Dread, it shows just how memory, like just how memory, how we're connected to memory, right? Because really what it is just a moment in Sophie's life, right? And it could have been something that she just probably kept buried in her mind for years, or just maybe something that she just didn't think about because of other life experiences and whatnot. But just this one time, this one moment in the film, right? She just goes back to it, and she's relying on this camera footage to at least get some sort of idea as to what was going on, right? And yeah, when you see her, mostly she's behind the camera, and she's, what you would expect, is a little kid behind the camera, so be a little goofy and making fun with it and
Right.
whatnot, right? But still, there's this point where she's talking to the dad, and the dad is distant, or you know, he seems like he's okay at some points, like he's laughing and whatnot. He's making jokes in front of the camera, but then afterwards, when they're together, off, doing something else, he's distant again, and then afterwards, he's fine and whatnot, right? So yeah, you could imagine how it would feel for her, you know what I mean? Having to go back to that time and remembering certain things, right? But then also too, you get little hints of what her life will end up becoming, right?
Right.
Through her experiences. And that's why I really dug the whole coming of age stuff. There's little subtle hints of things that will lead to where she is right now, right? Now, the thing that I'm not gonna say too long on this, right? But the thing about it, right? What caught me is that, as a viewer, you're there like I was just trying to mentally piece together, okay, what happened? What happened? What happened? I did like waited for, some reveal, and you don't get that. You really
Right.
don't get an answer as to what was going on. It's hinted as to what it is. I do assume it is some sort of mental illness. I assume maybe he had, some sort of suicidal tendency or whatnot.
Right.
'Cause there's a couple shots that kind of allude to, what his fate will be, right? But I was there thinking that it was going to happen at that particular event. But no, it's clear that it happened afterwards, and it really affected Sophie's life. So she's a lot different now. But then even that and all is left ambiguous too, because you're not sure if it's the father's death that led her to the way she is.
Right.
Maybe it happened years afterwards when she was adult, when she was an adult, or she was at least more mentally coherent about life and whatnot, and she could kind of process things. But maybe it happened long before that, so maybe that was just something that was just lingering on for years, and she couldn't find any way to cope with it. So here's her chance, maybe with this footage, right? And again, ambiguity. You don't know if this was something that she was doing for years, right? If she was just trying to piece together that puzzle for years, or if it just kind of happened just so you really don't know. And the show bravely kind of leaves it open, right? And yeah, it totally works when you really think about it, right? Because yeah, again, this is just how memory works, right? You still you always want to figure out that particular moment, right? And then also it was a memory, especially with your loved ones. Yeah, I mean, when you go on vacation with your family and friends, you remember those things, right? Like just those moments in the hotel. I can relate to that. Like just going in different islands in the Caribbean, whether it's like Barbados or Grenada. You know how it feels to see a new place for the first time, or to meet someone new, or stuff like that. Now, you remember those things, but you particularly remember the most being around your loved ones, being around your friends and your family, right? But yeah, when you think about the whole idea of mental illness and death and just stuff that's deep rooted now, you're kind of wondering even back then when everything seemed fine, because you were in a different place and you all were together having fun.
Right.
If that person was hurting deep down inside, you don't know, right? And yeah, the show nails that perfectly, in my opinion, by the acting. Mainly the show relies on its two leads, right? Paul and Frankie. Frankie Choreo Boy is a star boy. She is fantastic in this way. This is a
Nice.
first time feature, I believe. And yeah, she just plays this character so real, Dread. And I love how it's one of those characters that she's not precocious, but at the same time you could tell that she knows a lot, even though she's young. She picks up on things very quickly, right? And even throughout the film, you could tell that she's picking up that something is wrong with her father, but she just does not know what it is, or she feels like, yeah, there's something off, but I don't know what it is, right? There's actually a moment where she says that. Paul Mescal is fantastic as well too as Callum Dredd. I love how nuanced he is with his acting, right? Where he seems fine, and he's gentle, and when you see the type of person, if you run into him and you talk to him, you'll talk to him normal. But like when you watch him close, you could tell, like, just he's quiet, but just you're not sure why, and you could tell like maybe something's wrong with him, right?
Right.
And just the chemistry between the two of them, it's to the point, literally, like while I was watching this, and many reviews will say this. Yeah, they feel like a real father and daughter. They really
Right.
feel like a real father and daughter, and just the dialogue, and the dialogue is just so naturalistic as well too. It's not like leading up to any big reveal or anything like that. It's just more about character development and whatnot. Yeah, it works, man. The direction is solid as well too. I love the use of the mini DV camera footage as well too, to just kind of go into what's really going on, right? Um, just the choice of camera, blocking and camera angles and stuff like that. Subtle, but it totally works, man. You know what I mean? Also, there's a particular motif. That's all I'll say without spoiling anything, which suggests the path that the father is going and the daughter going as well too, right? But where it all leads up to in the climax, and I'm gonna spoil it, boy, is one of the most heartbreaking you'll see this year, boy. And I would say the closing shot of this way is, yeah, equally heartbreaking and haunting as well too, man. And yeah, it just really just kind of sums up just that whole idea of, again, just not knowing if your friends are okay. Even if you ask them, you okay? And they
Yeah.
say, yeah, you're fine. You know what I mean? They say they're okay, they're fine, right? But you know something's wrong, right? And it's just that when you go now, you never know because they never told you what's wrong. And unfortunately, you just had to spend the rest of your days trying to figure out what was wrong, right? And then who knows, it might happen to you one day, right? When you have a child or whatnot, right? So yeah, just how that final shot, just perfectly embodies that. But yeah, I really love that, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I did not expect this show to hit me the way it did, boy. Like again, like I just watch it and then like afterwards I was like, all right, well that's it, boy. But then when I sat down and it just really, like I just really started piece together everything I saw, boy. Yeah, boy. This one hit me in the gut, boy. The way that I did not expect, boy. This kind of
Nice.
snuck behind me, and just boom, hit me right. But yeah, boy, I love this film. This is easily top five for me. It may change by the time I put out my best of list, boy. But yeah, top five, top 10, this is up there for me, but I could definitely see why people have it as a number one. I could see why people have it as a top five way. And yeah, and the unfortunate thing is that this is a movie that will go on, that will slip past people's radars, right? Because
Right.
yeah, I don't even know if people will even know about it come years, and I don't know if it'll even be considered at next year's Oscars. I think it should actually. I would say in terms of say best direction or best director, sorry, or original screenplay. I think it works with those two, or maybe actor or actress. Maybe who knows? Maybe Frankie could win some. Maybe Paul could get nominated for some. Who knows? I don't know, right? But yeah, I do hope that it comes up in the Oscar race, like it's brought up somehow, right? But yeah, boy, I love this. This is easily one of the year's best films rating wise. I'm gonna give this a strong 4.5 out of 5. Um, I would say just prepare for that gut punch, boy. Because when it hits you, boy, you will feel it. You will definitely feel it, boy. This is
Nice.
a strong debut from Charlotte Wells, one of the best debut features I've seen in a long while. And I just hope for I just wish nothing but the best in terms of her career, boy. But yeah, she's off to a great start with this, boy. Frankie Corio once again is a star in the making. Paul Mescal, I need to see more of his work because he was great in this. And yeah, Aftersun is the real deal, boy. Don't sleep on this one. Do not sleep on this one.
Nice.
And another Oscar potential and best of 2022 potential, which I'll get to. Let's talk about Decision to Leave, man. Ricardo,
Sure.
if you don't mind, I want you to do the synopsis for this, right? So I was hearing about this, right, for a while, but it just kind of came and went for me, right? It won at the Cannes Film Festival, and by the way, I don't follow Cannes stuff a lot, but I just know that when it comes to, like, okay, like this won the Palme d'Or, or
Right.
the Lion, or whatever it is. I think that's the Venice Film Festival. I can't remember, right? But yeah, when you hear Palme d'Or and this film won, it's like, all right, well, okay, I should take note of that, right? Because usually Palme d'Or winners usually go, usually get nominated for Oscars, right? Case in
Yeah.
point, Parasite, right? I mean, perfect example, right? That
Right.
one, and well, right? And speaking of that, yes, this is South Korean, and it is directed by, yeah, one of the best directors from South Korea by easily, Park Chan-wook, right? Um, Director of the masterpieces. Old Boy, still one of the best films I've ever seen in my life. And The Handmaiden, which was one of the first films that we covered in this series here. We
Yeah.
covered that back in 2016 when it came out on VOD, right? Loved it. It made it to our best of list, right? So this is literally his latest film after The Handmaiden. Believe it or not. Yeah, he
Sure.
hasn't been anything since 2016, right? And yeah, and another surprise for me is the type of film it is, right? Because when it comes to Park Chan-wook here, you usually expect something very salacious, something kind of sleazy, something kind of gritty, brutal, like Han Min was more salacious than anything else,
Right.
and Oh Boy and the Vengeance trilogy was just brutality, right? But here was a police procedural slash mystery slash romance film. Like I just sort
Right.
of read this up like as a synopsis. I'm like, all right, okay. And kind of neo-noirish as well too. So like, all right, curious to see what we get with this too. Again, this is the latest. This is his return to the world of filmmaking since The Handmaiden, right? So I'm just curious to see what this man's gonna bring to the table, right? And also if it was worth the him winning best director at the Cannes Film Festival, right? And we'll talk about that in terms of the Oscar potential this movie certainly has, right? But yeah, Ricardo, what is Decision to Leave about?
Yeah, so it's about this guy, what's his name, boy?
All
hae-jun.
right,
hae-jun.
so yeah, hae-jun,
hae-jun, right,
or
yeah.
hae-jun, right? Yeah.
He working in Busan, he with his wife, Jung-an, uh, Jung-ang. She's a nuclear scientist. I forget what she's with.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
She works at this nuclear
right,
plant. Yeah.
right. So yeah, then his partner, Suwon, uh, they have a case with this. I forget what it was. It was a immigration person found dead in a mountain.
Yeah, yeah.
Like a
Like
hiker
found
or
literally at
something.
the bottom, and
Right,
they wondering if he like just slipped and fell, or if he was
right,
pushed off the top of that mountain. Yeah.
right. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a bill from there where he does takeouts and he had a in um he does takeouts of the wife because the wife was being watched. There's a whole thing with that, and then it started build from there because he gets obsessed with her, and then you find out something involving fentanyl and her mother, so that you started track up with that, and then the story started build from there. And I didn't love this as much as his older films, but it's still pretty good.
Yes, yes. Actually, a lot of people have been saying that. Not as
Yeah,
great as Old Boy, not as great as Handmaiden, but
right.
still
I
great.
didn't
Yeah.
expect it to be. It felt well, a little memories of murder vibes, a little bit. Um,
Yeah, yeah, true.
yeah,
Good example there with the
right,
police procedural stuff and the
right.
whole idea of all right, I try to solve a
But
case, but I
what,
probably won't by the end, by the time the movie ends. But that's all I'll say.
yeah.
Yeah.
But what catch me with this is how stylistic it was. Um, it felt like something that somebody would edit on kind of borderline on TikTok or something like that, whatever hyper stylized videos. It was
Uh-huh.
really
Uh-huh.
stylized, very
Yes,
stylized.
yes.
And I was wondering, wait, this like a graphic novel or something? Like I was wondering.
Oh, I
Uh,
know what you mean. I'll
yeah,
talk about it in my way, but this has some of the best transitions I've seen in a movie
yeah.
this year. Boy. Like, my
It
God.
had all
Yeah.
these really cool editing choices and transitions and shot compositions and how it frame and everything. And all of it gives visual information. Very heavily relies on visual information. I was quite surprised by that because it didn't feel as straightforward and like Handmaiden was. Like Handmaiden is telling you what's going on, boom, plot, cut, move on. This was like it's a comic book movie almost. It felt like that. It felt like a comic book movie, like something that in the same vein as Zack Snyder Watchmen or something in that type now. Like
Oh, great example there with Watchmen. Yeah, great
yeah,
movie.
yeah. It felt like that. And I was like, all right, good. Like, what's going on here? And the ending is great. Like, that catch me. That real catch me. It's like, wow, that real brutal dread. That real dread. Um,
Boy.
the ending on the beach.
talk about down bad boy, but you really
Yeah,
feel sorry for this character. That's all I'll
right.
say. You're
Yeah, for
real
real.
if you're real sorry, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I just thought the script itself is pretty reasonably standard stuff. It's still very Hitchcockian neo-noir stuff, right? You know, I'm borrowing that from. I showed enough people write article about this, that, or the other, right? Very Hitchcockian, very you know, very I don't know, sevenish. How that crops, stress, going through the bullshit, and then he now get obsessed and he have that whole thing with that, and it's very good though, but it didn't hold me as much as say Old Boy. But then Old Boy is this amazing classic, blah blah blah. This is pretty good, right? It's very very good. Not his best, but still pretty damn good. So yeah,
Right. Well, I agree with you for the most part. Like I say, a lot of people will say that it's not as good as Handmaid, no old boy. And I think the reason why it's easy for people to say that is the 6 year gap between Handmaiden and this film here, right? So it's not like so it's easy, especially with the strength of those two films in particular, right?
yeah,
Yeah, it's easy for anybody to go into this film with expectations somewhat high, right? And yeah, I mean they met, but I think for me, yeah, I do agree with you, and with many others, it's not as great as that, right? I think that's mostly because of the premise itself, right?
yeah,
Which is fine and just how it plays out it is, but it's just not as strong, or it doesn't rope it in as much as say Handmaiden or
right.
Old Boy, where it's just like, all right, we just
It
can't wait to see
escalates
what
now. Yeah,
happens, how it escalates and whatnot, right? Um, just to get this out of the way, yeah, Park Chan-wook still, shows once again why he is one of the best directors in the game. He deserves that award at Cannes, and yeah, he is a strong, contender. Like I have a feeling that he is going to be nominated in next year's Oscars, but like most definitely. But yeah, this man came through with, it's not just style and stuff. It's not just style for the sake of style, but in terms of visual storytelling, boy, it works, boy. This has some really creative transitions, boy.
Yeah,
Um,
that was shot on
whether
a
it's
mount on
from
the
yeah,
mountain.
yes,
With
yes, yes,
the
like
camera
like
goes down the mountain up and then flip, like the camera flip.
yeah. There's a shot where you see from the perspective of the corpse himself, and you
Yeah,
see like an ant like crawling up the camera as well
yeah,
too. Slight spoiler. Like it's
yeah.
just those kind of choices where I'm
And then
like, what?
the,
It's like,
the fight
jeez, boy.
remember the fella in the chase where he's running him and when the camera was behind it like what?
All right, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And usually when they use that oh gosh, where they put the camera on
yeah,
by the person's shoulder, usually sorry, yeah, right, right in front of the person's face, usually it kind of looks kind of hokey.
yeah.
Now but here, like
It looked
literally
great.
having it from behind,
Yeah,
yeah, it looked great though.
yeah.
I just one thing you have to love about Park's films though is that even if the film itself is a slow burn, it is a slow burn, right? He will just inject like these moments of vibrancy into the film, boy. So he'll always do something to just keep you watching, to keep you engaged. Just keep you glued to the screen, boy. And yeah, he just did that true and true, boy.
Hmm.
Again, just some really smart transitions.
Yeah.
Um, there's one moment, boy. It's a blink and a missing moment. A slight spoiler, right? It involves a voice note. And while like what do you do, right? So it more or less recaps a moment that happens in the film, right? I'm not gonna say what it is, right? So while the voice note is playing, you see that shot play out, right? But then there's a moment where the character forwards the voice note, right? And then it cuts back to that same shot. That scene actually stays still for a couple seconds and then resumes.
Yeah.
I watched that over. I like, what?
Yeah,
The
drama.
man like literally like no to emphasize when the forwarding of the voice note. So there's like a little second gap before it resumes. The man literally stopped the shot, dread, and then just resume it afterwards.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that will pass, that will fly past people's eyes when they watch this. I don't know how I pick it up. I just watch it like, wait, now, holy shit, this man do that?
Hmm.
Like I don't know, boy. The man just like I don't know, like he just spent the past 6 years, um, maybe obsessing about social media because yeah, the show also
Yeah.
touches on social media as well too, right?
But that
This
was
well
it.
more
It
no
felt like
actually more about the use of cell phones. Like he was
it felt
just
like if
watching cell phone usage
yeah.
in terms of videos and replicated that in these really
Yeah, no,
clever
no.
ways,
It
man.
felt. That's what I say. It felt like if somebody like really professional edit the movie on CapCut. That's how it felt.
Right. Mm.
It's so like it's super stylish, But like if it feel like all of those techniques, this is the thing. Like look, techniques is just a lot of it is who use it as opposed to the technique itself, right? We are accustomed to there's a bunch of kids goofing about on TikTok, so therefore you don't think of it as good editing or great editing or anything. But no, TikTok has amazing editing, right? Some truly amazing editing on how to cut stuff together, and that's how this felt. It felt like what if you apply the techniques to somebody who really know what they're doing and have years of experience, what will happen? That is what it looks like. That it straight up looks like that, in my opinion. Yeah, I was just so impressed with a lot of that. That is a big seller of the movie. Like the movie could, I had to look up who edited it, but the movie could win for best editing. Like straight up, just do that. Like,
I
uh,
would agree too. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
This has some of the best editing I've seen in a film as well too, right? The acting is great as well too, right?
yeah,
Especially from the actress who plays Song, right?
yeah,
That's the wife of the
the
deceased
old guy,
person,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah. And it's established that she's Chinese, but she speaks South Korean, and the show does this really clever thing where she says words, right? But it's said so bluntly. Like there's a moment involving saying after all or something like that. Something when she first meets the inspector for the first time, right? And she says a particular phrase in such a way that it almost hints as if, yeah, she knew that the husband was gonna die anyway, and it just kind of catches him off guard. But
Yeah.
there's like he says, your South Korean is better than mine, right? So they do a language barrier kind of stuff thing into the film, right? Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, the film, the story is very nuanced as well too. There's a lot going on in it as well, right? Similar to like the Hitchcock film that actually remind me of is Vertigo, right?
Right.
Where yeah, you have this obsessed, this guy who's obsessed over this girl and really obsessed and really down bad over this girl,
Yeah.
but it involves, some death or some kind of thing like that, right? And you just really see how far this obsession goes, right? I will say that the first half is great though, from a police procedural kind of way, but similar to Vertigo, the second half is just about how deep this obsession goes, not just with the inspector but also with the girl as well too. I felt that there were a few convoluted bits in the second half. It was it,
Right.
it was kind of hard to follow. Remember, I have to read subtitles, I have to watch
I
visuals, I have to
I
watch
did, yeah.
acting.
I
So
had to
I
give it
had
a
to kind of pause. Like I found myself actually throughout the film numerously rewinding shots because like, right, what you say? What
right.
happened there? Yeah, I felt
Right.
yeah, I had to do
I had
that.
that problem as well. Because I tell myself, well, you see, the thing is with this kind of stuff, I don't want to like stop and rewind kind of thing. Like, I
Yeah,
just want to
but I
watch it.
want to make sure I pick up on everything because it's a mystery you're watching
No,
here.
no,
You
no.
so
Well,
you wanna, you know,
I don't watch it, but I want to rewatch the whole thing just to get a working sense of continuity. Now, that's why, like, I don't want to because like it could just in context don't really make any sense. I don't know. Like my memory and brain don't really work like that. I don't know. But
okay,
yeah,
I understand. Yeah,
I have to give the movie a second rewatch entirely to just to
yeah,
see
yeah,
what it is I was missing in the context of the film. That like say you mentioned with Black Panther earlier, just rewatching it in its own entirety instead of one scene. I pick up on stuff that I didn't pick up because of the memory of the stuff narrative wise earlier now, and so on and so forth. And this is because of its nature as a detective story. You need to get that in that space now. I don't know. That just my 2 cents about that. Whatever.
right, right.
But yeah,
Understand. Well,
yeah,
a few things before I get to it, right? The show also kind of ironically says, it is about the mystery and it isn't about the mystery at the same time.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
like you
yeah,
will be
yeah.
doing a bunch of mental like, well, like okay, like all right, what happened there?
Right.
Okay, the cause of death. I love the setup of
Yeah.
okay,
It's not really about
the
story.
guy who dies, like there's a scene, there's a moment involving a phone. Like I thought that was like a really
Correct.
really clever moment. Some
But
some some information on that phone and whatnot. I thought that worked and how that plays out. But then at
yeah,
the same time, I'll tell you, well, it kind of isn't really about the mystery. It's more about how this woman and this guy eventually hook up,
right.
and how how the
Because it
inspector kind
does
of going behind his wife's back, and it's just the
right.
obsession part about it,
The
right? So
character
you kind
work.
of doing both at the same time,
Yeah, exactly. The character work is what the big sell is, and this one it remind me in some ways a little bit of True Detective season 3, where
Yes.
the mystery wasn't important at all.
Yeah.
Like, but him being a detective is what was important. Like you understand why the mystery was important because it was important to him, and you understand why at the ending. Like, oh shit, that real dread. This is the same thing. Is that yeah, the case is important, but like that's the only the impetus to what really going on now in terms of the character stuff and him as a personality, him and his connection with this woman, why he's so obsessed with her, so on and so forth. And what going on with her? Like when
Yeah.
they find out why she is the way she is, and so on. And again, the ending on the beach is brutal. Like,
Yeah, I'll
yeah,
I'll get to the end in a bit, right? But
right,
yeah, and what's also what I love about the characters, especially the acting, 'cause the acting is great.
yeah,
It's just how complex these characters are. Cause yeah, on surface level, you get who they are and why they are the way they are,
yeah.
but you're not really supposed to like them or support
No,
them.
right,
They just
exactly.
are characters.
Good
Like they
flawed
will do
characters. Yeah,
stuff that like on surface level just seem kind of off, or just seem kind of weird. Like, all right, why would you do this? Or why would you act this way? But because of their obsession and how similar it is, though, it kind of makes sense, right? So they are deeply, deeply flawed individuals, and you just can't help but watch them and just see what other shenanigans they get themselves into because of that, right? And then we get to that ending, boy, where yeah, boy, that was hard, boy. That was
yeah.
harsh, I should say,
What's
right?
what's in
Um,
the hole, right?
yeah, boy,
Not what's
yeah,
in the box, right? What's in the hole,
yeah.
right? Yeah,
That is pure nihilistic neo noir. That's a
yeah,
neo noir ending, but that's a
yeah,
true neo noir ending. If I've ever seen that, that is
yeah.
reminiscent of like a 40s or 50s noir film, just bleak and just on just unforgiving in terms of his bleakness, boy. But it
Yeah.
works, boy, in terms of
Yeah.
the characters and who they are, Jen. But again, surface level is like, yeah, why would you do this? But at the same time, it's like,
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
why, right? Um, but let's say closing in terms of the Oscar potential. I certainly see this as a nominee for Best Director.
Sure.
Best international film, if you want to call it that, for
Right.
sure. For sure, easy pick right here. Editing, yes, I do
Yep.
agree with you. The editing needs to be needs to be nominated for Best Editing. Yeah, this is some of the best editing I've seen in a long while, man. Best Picture,
Nah, I
don't
don't.
know. I
No.
don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't. I'll be happy if it win. Best international feature or whatever it is, right? I'd be happy if it win, right? I don't know. I don't know what other shows would be nominated. But yeah, I'll be happy if this win. I'm actually happy with this one, right? But yeah, again, it's glad that Park is back doing his stuff. He always finds provocative ways to explore genres that he clearly fascinated of.
Right.
So yeah, this is like a neo noir mystery throwback, but it has that sort of Hitchcockian vertigo romance kind of vibe to it. It's kind
Yeah.
of dark, but you feel where the character's coming from. So it's like that, right? So as far as like for me now, in terms of like best of the year, this will be an honorable mention for me. I
Probably.
don't
Yeah.
see this on my list at the moment. But yeah, this is certainly an honorable mention for me, and this is certainly one that I will recommend that you do check out. And yeah, it is certainly one of the year's best outings. But just for me, not I don't have it up there, right? But that doesn't mean that it's not worth watching, right? So for me, rating wise, decent to a strong 4 to 5, man. Yeah,
Nice.
Park is back in the game. He have a film that I certainly will rewatch as well too, and I have a feeling if I watch it over again, there'll be more things I'll pick up on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in comparison to Handmaiden and Oh Boy, not one of his best
Right.
ones, but yeah, this is certainly one
Well,
that
I mean,
have him up
in the
there as one
case
of
of
the best.
Handmaiden just catch you. Handmaiden catch you, like really catch you in terms of like what it wanted to do now.
Yeah.
That was how I felt about that.
Right.
But
Well, another thing, I'll shut up here. I think another reason why it doesn't like land or stay with you as much, not as salacious or not as brutal as his previous work, right?
right,
There's always something so like it's still provocative, yes, right? But there's just something so garish about, or just so, I want to say, exploitative, or something like envelope, um
right,
this envelope pushing. That's what I should say. Envelope
right,
pushing. Like
right,
it's not as envelope pushing as his other films. It's kind of straightforward. It's just kind of like, yeah, nothing too much to get freaked out over. You know what I mean? Like nothing to shock you. It's just, yeah, you're just seeing two down bad characters just doing just going about emotions, and that's
right,
pretty much it, right? So yeah. So yeah, final thoughts on Return.
right. Yeah, no. Rating pretty high. Like I give it like a 8.5, closer to a 9. Kind of thing about that. With out of 10. Yeah, no. I didn't expect it to. I didn't expect it to go any way it did, even though it was still within the bingo space of plot stuff. But I was like, when they actually reveal, well, something involving fentanyl, right? When they reveal what was going on ultimately, I was like, all right, I don't super love this, but because but it's mostly because it's they could make it a better conceit overall. But yeah, as it is, I dug the hell out of it. Rated, yeah, again, 8.5 out of 10, really, really good. The big sell, of course, is the editing. That's the sell. I thought a lot of that almost entirely works for me. I didn't expect it to be as excellent as it was. And yeah, it was just real hard. Like, I can't be mad at any of that. Yeah.
All right. So quick question. Do you see this in your best of, or you don't know as yet?
Yeah, that probably. I'll see. I don't watch other movies, but it's close. I can see myself probably putting it on lower end of things.
All right. Nice.
Yeah.